What was your I don't get paid enough for this moment at work? I make $13 an hour on an ambulance. Every day is an I don't get paid enough for this moment. When I worked at McDonald's, I found out we didn't get paid for closing. We got paid until the store closed. So if it took us an extra hour or two to close, that was unpaid. I wish I knew what I know now, because that is an open and shut case. But at the time, I was young and dumb. My first paycheck, I noticed I had a ton of missing hours. So when I asked my boss about it, she told me we only get paid until the store closed. So that night, I walked out when the store closed. They tried to guilt me into staying, because the other team members need me. Frick that. I don't work for free. Sorry. Especially when I'm already making minimum wage. No thanks. Not gonna happen. Used to work as a dental nurse. First patient of the friggin' day. Bloke said he felt sick after having a local anesthetic. He looked it. I grabbed the bin and told him if he needed to vomit, take the bin. He held it in his lap and turned, vomiting down the side of the chair and all over my pants and shoes. Of course I had to clean it up, and of course they wouldn't let me go home to change. Psycho camp director lost her crap on all of the lifeguards because we said we weren't coming back next summer. Reality was we all had legit reasons. I was going to take summer courses to graduate early. Another guard was moving to university and was going to work in that city. Another guard got offered a head guard spot at a camp near her house, etc. Nothing that said we hated the current camp, just other things going on. We were told in a group meeting if we weren't happy that we could leave and she would find other guards. Following Friday she calls us all in to tell us what a great job we are doing and how happy everyone is going to the lake. Tuesday after that she calls us in individually to tell us we aren't working hard enough and she sees us slacking off all the time. Lunchtime Tuesday all the guards walked into her office, told her to go frick herself in front of the owner of the camp. And we all piled into my Ford Focus and went for beer. Went home that night to message from camp owner asking us to give him a call back. We all chatted and realized he had called all of us. Called him the following day, told him what went down. He asked us to reconsider and that he would give us a $5 an hour raise and report directly to him. We discussed it and agreed on the condition that Psycho director apologized to us at a collective staff meeting. She refused and had a tantrum. Camp owner fired her on the spot, escorted her off the property, and we opened the lake back up. Frick you, Bob. When I walked into the room of a confused patient on blood thinners who had ripped out his IV and catheter and had crap and blood on every surface of his room, it looked like a murder had been committed. I've been through a lot as a nurse, but that was like going into a war zone. I manage a fast food restaurant and for me it's always things that have to do with the bathroom. From having to clean up P Magazine's WC men on the floor or walls, to people either purposely shying on the floor, even used hypodermic needles. Same boat here, but with customers instead of washrooms. Swearing at my underage staff puts a real bad taste in my mouth, and I'm not nice about it. I was working late, like 2 AM in the office. My manager said let's go to the convenience store to buy some snacks and smokes. She sits in the back and we drive there. After we get our crap, she says can we swing by this street intersection real quick. When we get to that intersection, I guess she sees a car that belongs to someone she knows, parked in front of her boyfriend's house. She starts to wail, cry and kick around in the back seat, while my bewildered ass just holds the steering wheel, with a stupid look on my face. After 20 minutes of that crap, we drive back to the office. I drop her off and I go home. Worked at a fast food place about 13 years ago. This lady in the drive-thru claimed she was missing a sandwich. Our policy was to ask for the bags back to verify. I asked to see the bags, 3 or 4, decent sized order, and instead of handing them back like a civilized human being she instantly started raging and throwing the food into the window while cussing me out. Guess what one of the items that she threw at me was? Yep, said missing sandwich. Crappy people will always try to scam something. Well over 2 decades ago, I fielded a call from somebody insisting they were missing an entire 10-pack of tacos on their 20 taco order. I had no problem telling them I had been making food all day and no, an order like that had never come up on my screen and to try scamming some other restaurant. Countless times at the go-kart place, summer job, Where I work, I've had to put up with special needs kids whose caretakers or parents dropped them off and drove off because they wanted a break from them. These kids, and adults, have a mental age of anywhere from 3-15, and many times they are unable to follow the directions that we provide or even listen to us. They are not only a danger to themselves but to the other riders and to us, the staff. An easy solution to this would be for their parents to ride with them in a double and to drive for them, allowing them to have fun without having to put anyone in danger. However, that costs more money and they don't want to. One parent even said, "Why can't you just ride with him?" And when I asked if she would be comfortable with other people, she said he wasn't. I wanted to call her a crappy parent, but I didn't want to lose my job. We can't deny them as they have the physical age to ride, but are hopefully putting rules in place to require parents of children with special needs to ride with their parents. I hope you are calling the cops every time a disabled individual is dropped off without supervision. As someone who has worked with this population, this is dangerous for them and for you. Got change thrown in my face at work because a man was upset we didn't have meatballs. Now if I'm working, he'll come in, see me, and walk out. That's kinda good, though. Others shouldn't be subjected to his balls. I work in childcare. There was one time we had one kid who had a diaper blowout and one kid who puked everywhere. There's only 2 teachers, so one has to handle the blowout and one the vomit, while also keeping the rest of the kids away from it all. This was back in the late 90s. I was working at Walmart as my first job as a teenager. I was floated to the garden department one day and there was a guy looking at lawn fertilizer. I walked over and asked if he needs help. He said, "Not now, just looking at the different kinds you have." Pretty standard reply from the guy. So I said, "Okay, let me know." I walk away and then swing back about 5 minutes later. Same guy has proceeded to rip open about 10 different kinds of the fertilizer all over the ground and is rolling around in the stuff. He is also taste sampling the stuff. I called my manager because I did not want to deal with it. Security escorted the guy out the store and called an ambulance in case the ingestion of the fertilizer hurt him. Was the customer a dog? My boss insisted that everybody be at their desks at 8:30 sharp. She made me take roll on an attendance sheet and hand it in to her every day. She also made me do it at lunchtime, when everybody left and came back, and when they left at night. Took roll for a bunch of adults 3 times a day. I don't work there anymore. I worked for the university's horse barn as a teenager. They had some pretty strict rules that I was not used to at other places. Like the horses were only allowed outside for 2 hours, no matter what. Could be the most beautiful day and we would have to stop everything we were doing to bring them into their stalls. They were only ever allowed 2 squirts of fly spray, which didn't cover their butts. Required to have their halters on 24/7, even when in the stalls at night. Our boss had clearly zero experience with animals, or if he did, he just didn't care. One day while one of the horses was having his feet trimmed, my boss went to pull out a weed whacker from the bottom of the shelf directly next to where the horse was standing. A lot like Jenga, the entire closet of machinery fell onto the horse, causing him to kick the farrier and run. Ever since that incident, the horse was a mess. So instead of hiring a trainer to fix the problem, they just locked him in the stall all day 24/7. I quit shortly after that. I still wonder how that horse is doing. That poor animal. I'm so sorry that horse had to, and probably is still, suffering due to some idiot who doesn't understand prey instinct. I walked into the bathroom, and someone had smeared poop on literally every single surface, wall, everything except one small part of the ceiling they couldn't reach. Picasso almost made me quit, but luckily my boss told me to lock it, not let anyone else use it, and he got someone to come with a pressure washer. Props to your boss, honestly. Best boss on the thread, as far as I can tell. We used to be paid half salary to attend seminars related to our industry that grant professional development hours. These seminars would often be at 7 AM at a hotel that was about a 2-hour drive for me, if I was lucky, in rush hour traffic to get to, but hey, it was paid and had free breakfast, so waking up at 4:30 to attend wasn't the worst thing in the world. The company announced that they believed attending the seminars was furthering our knowledge, therefore helping the company, and therefore helping us. So we would no longer be paid to attend them but were still expected to go. I just said frick that and haven't attended a single one since then and delete all the invite emails. I'm paid hourly, So taking the 6 hours out of my day to drive and attend a seminar I am not being paid for is just plain stupid. I was asked why I haven't gone to any and told them I have a mortgage to pay. Haven't been asked to go again since. Direct support staff for people with minor disabilities. 13 an hour. Had a client go off the rails because he refused to take schizophrenia pills. Was working night shift and he gets up in the middle of the night and starts yelling random things, running around the house naked, peeing on everything, asking for me to put a cowboy hat on him. He is now in a nursing home, bless his soul. Yes, he got his cowboy hat LMAO. As an RN, when people go nuts they always get naked. I work in security, and a bit under a year ago, I worked at some kind of public TV event. My job was to keep people without passes out of a specific area which was intended for those working behind the scenes to kick back and relax and get their lunches and all that. Anyway, only ones I was allowed entrance were people with passes and other security folks. But then word from above came that the exception was to be made for some kind of supposedly famous child music group. I had no clue what they looked like, so 4 kids and their parents walk up and I stop them. Don't you know WHO, these are quickly followed. Eventually it got cleared up, and every time after they kept bringing in more friends and family members and the same song and dance continued. How to get your whole family backstage with this one easy trick. Security guards ate it. When my boss screamed at me for something they got wrong. This was a couple hours after 2 co-workers almost came to blows because one of them left their phone overnight and the other, the first person to arrive in the shop, used it to send a prank text to another co-worker but didn't want to admit it. Was making $2 above minimum wage for a furniture rental store. I was supposed to be a manager in training but they screwed me and made me a jack of all trades. One day they asked me to help out on repo runs and get back furniture from people that didn't pay. First red flag was going into an area and taking away a fridge from a family and watching them take all their food out for their kids and getting friends to keep it cold. The nail in the coffin though was going to someone's house at 10 PM at night, waking up the family, going into the bedroom of a sleeping child to wake him up so we can't take away his bed as his parents didn't pay for it. As someone with young children at the time, I was disgusted in what I was doing. I was putting in 18-hour days doing these repossessions. I asked my district manager what I would be getting as compensation as I've had to do some very terrible things. She promised I would be well compensated for saving the company a ton of money and product. I got a $15 gift card to buy alcohol. I don't drink. I don't think you understand what a contract means. Besides, this is an opportunity for you. When the new manager tried to move me to night shifts weekend from my day shifts, working days despite my contract being very specific about when I worked. Hey, you were right. This is a big opportunity for me was how I opened when I told her I was quitting. The look of shock and 15 minutes of silence on her part were hilarious and the best feeling interval of my entire life when she realized I had thrown her own stupid words back at her. The time I went to sleep under my desk at work at 5 AM because I needed to be back at my desk for an 8 AM call. I had promised myself a long time ago that I would never sleep under my desk. I would go home, or just work straight through, but I wouldn't do that. I only lived a 12-minute walk home, but that night I realized that getting those extra 24 minutes of sleep were worth not going home. I was so sad about it. I am a corporate lawyer. We had been working, literally, around the clock for days on a deal that was going sideways. This was a Wednesday, a Thursday morning, but I had been there until 3 AM Sunday night, 5 AM Monday night, 6 AM Tuesday night, and had been back in the office by 9 AM every day. That's when I knew I needed to quit, but I'm still here a year and change later. Oops. Was working the registers at a grocery store. About an hour before closing, a customer comes to my lane with 2 48CT egg cartons. Stumbles a bit putting them onto the belt, and before I can react the entire thing was on the ground. Best part, apparently the janitor had left already, so I got to spend the next hour cleaning up 96 broken eggs with nothing but paper towels. I had an emergency, last minute 20,000 word translation that needed to be done in under 24 hours. The usual output for a translator is 2,000 words per day, including proofreading and editing. I don't know how, but I managed to bash it out. Not my best quality translation ever, but I got it done. Despacito Nabo. 21 seconds and I'm already disgusted. Comment and add feature me to be featured in the next video. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.